Hey guys, what is up? Welcome back to another Code Learn Retreat video. In this video, I am going to be starting a new series. In this video, I try to make a cricket simulator using Python. This is part 1 of the series. If you do want to be notified when I upload the next parts of the series, please be sure to subscribe and click the notification bell icon. Anyway, let's get into it. So before I start with the video itself, I want to show you what is going to be the roadmap for this project, in the sense how the series is going to be planned out. So this is part 1 of the video, in which I'm going to be making a basic front end for the cricket simulator and a random over generator which just has no actual data or logic behind it, just generates random numbers for a ball. Part 2 is in that I'm going to be adding actual factors like pitch conditions, weather, etc. In part 3, I'm going to create a database, and in that I'm going to store real life batsmen's data against bowlers and see how they fare against these bowlers, and add this into the mix when using the Python simulator. In part 4, I'll be coding to allow the user to select teams, the batting and the bowling order. In part 5, finally wind detection will be added and the code will be deployed on Heroku so that you can use the cricket simulator for free. Okay, so let's get right into the code. So right now, let me first run the code and show it to you how the code looks currently. So let me create a new terminal in VS Code. All you have to do to run this is type python app.py. So this starts a server. Now if I show the Google Chrome tab, and if we go to the local host over here, you can use localhost :5000, or in the code it will show a link over here. You can click it and it will lead you to the website. Over here it says enter the number of overs and start game. So let's say I want to see what random numbers can be generated for a 20 over innings. Let's start the game. So as you can see, this is what the code shows right now. You've got the ball number from 0 to 1 like this, all the way till you get all out or the 20 overs finish. You've got these outcomes, and according to these outcomes, these rows are colored, and you've got the current score and current wickets at each particular ball. And you can also see at the end that in 20 overs, our batsman over here has scored 367 runs, which is amazing. But yeah, besides the point, that is how the code runs right now. Yes. Okay. So now if we actually go to how the code runs, let's begin with this file called randomalgo.py. Now over here, I've imported a Python package called random. Now what random is a Python package that allows you to generate a random integer or a number in a certain range. It allows you to select a random element from a list, and it has lots of features basically relating to random number generation, RNG. So I have created a function here called random ball. This function takes in the current score of the match and the current wickets of the match at that particular ball. Now keep in mind, this is a standalone function that I have coded. It is separate from the match as of now. So in a cricket match, if you probably know, there are these possibilities. You can either have a dot ball, which is a 0, 1 run, 2 run, 3 runs. Then you're going to have a 4, which is a boundary, a 6. And then you have 3 special ones, which are a wicket, wide and no ball. In wide and no ball, you get an extra ball, and you can do any of these 1 to 6 in one of those balls. And when you get a wicket, of course, the batsman is out. Now for this wide and no ball, I've created an extra array which is integer possibilities, which just shows 1 through 6, except for 5 of course. Now what I do over here is I take an outcome is equal to random.choice possibilities. Now possibilities is this list, and random.choice is a function in the random package which allows to pick one random possibility from one random outcome. So now we take this outcome and we say if the outcome is equal to wide, which means this, what one needs to do is outcome, they take another outcome. In this case I take another outcome, but it comes from this list over here, int possibilities 0 1 2 3 4 6. Now what I return is wide comma outcome. This is one list showing the outcomes that have come in this particular ball. I return the updated score, which is the current score which has been passed in by the user, plus 1 because it's a wide, and the outcome, which is always an integer. And the current wickets don't change because in this case you cannot have a wicket right now. Same logic for no ball, but over here it is replaced with NB. For wicket, all that I pass is wicket, current score, and current wickets plus 1. And if it is none of these special cases, I return the outcome, the current score plus the outcome, and the current number of wickets that have fallen. So one more thing I'd like to mention, when a Python function returns multiple variables, the variables get put in a Python structure called a tuple. Now a tuple is a kind of list which cannot be modified, but data from it can be obtained. So now let us move on to the file where the main backend is working, app.py. Now I have used something called Flask, which is a framework basically to allow somebody to build a web application. Now there are various things that I've imported here. Flask render template is a function which allows an HTML page to be rendered as a template. I'll get on to more about that later. Request and session is when you have to do databases. Now from random algo, which is my file over here, I import the random ball function. This is where actually the code comes into this thing. Now I have created an app by this function. This is how you define an app in Flask. This is how you set up a server on your local host, like this. Now I have added a secret key that beware, if you are going to be deploying this code on Heroku, do not release your secret key. If you are trying to make some sort of website and you are maybe recording a video of it or sending a screenshot, do not even accidentally send this, because using this people can control your website, take it down, do stuff like that, etc. Okay, so this is what environment it is in. So if it is development, matlab if it is meaning if it is a testing, if it is in the testing stage, debug will be set to true. I'll get to that, because if you've got any errors, there is something called workzerg, which is a part of Flask, and that throws an error which you can you interact with. You can find out why this error is caused and stuff. Otherwise you do not want this to be shown up, you just want to say server error or something. So yeah, now let's get to the function where I actually generate the balls and the scores. So generate balls takes in the number of overs. Now as we all know, there are 6 balls in an over if you know about cricket. So ball is equal to overs times 6. Now in the beginning we start with a score of 0 and wickets 0, and CTR in this case serves as the ball counter, is equal, so it starts as 1. Now score list is very important, because this is going to store the string outputs of the outcomes and the current score and wickets at that particular point in time. So this is a bit complicated. While the CTR is lesser than equal to balls, So this is while 60 balls, suppose if you've got a 10 over innings, then you have 60 balls. So CTR starts with 1. So when this continuously gets looped on and CTR gets increased by 1 each time, this while loop is executed 60 times, giving you 60 balls. Now over here we have a statement which shows if the wickets are lesser than 10. If they are greater than 10, then we return score list at whatever it is. That means we stop the game midway, because we do not want 10 wickets to pass and then an 11th wicket, 12th wicket. We do not want any of that, because that's not how it works in a cricket match. Okay, so here raw outcome, as I said, in this case is a tuple. As you can see over here, it's a tuple. So I run the random ball function with the current score and the current wickets, which is these two variables. In the beginning they will be 0, but they do get modified further in the code. Now outcome, the actual outcome, if we go back to random algo, the actual outcome over here, the actual outcome over here is the first element, the current score is the second element, and the current wickets is the third element. So if we go back, yes, so now I've used this kind of function called isInstance. So if the outcome is a list which is only there when the ball is either a wide or a no ball. Okay, so if the outcome is of type list, a Python list, then what I do is I set a string called outcome str and I use some concatenation to make it so that it is wide or no ball, comma, and then over here I put what comes after the wide in the extra ball, which is maybe even a 4 or a 3, something like that. Then I put a semicolon and a space. Then I put the current score, which is the current score, plus 1 plus what the outcome is. In this case it would be the modified score. So yes, and this would be the wickets. So that takes care of wide and no ball, and then I append to the score the values, that is wide and no ball. Now what happens here is, in outcome str, if it is an integer, which means it's just a normal one, all I do is I take a string value of the outcome, which is maybe 0 to 6. Then you've got this, and again the similar thing, and this time you don't add 1, but you just add score plus equals outcome. If it is a wicket, we don't do anything to the score, we pass the outcome as just a wicket, and then we add to the wickets like this. Now I've got this string over here. This string over here is what basically, after parsing, becomes the output that we are seeing in the browser. So I append this to a list called the score list, which I had defined up here, and I increase the CTR by 1. Now assume this match is played for some time and the wickets pass over 10. So at that point it will stop and return the score list. But if the number of balls finishes and the wickets have not passed 10, it will return the full 20 overs or 10 overs or how many ever overs are there. Okay, so that was the function of generate balls. Now let's move on to the another important piece of code, this app.route decorator over here. So app.route is basically a decorator which is in Flask. Now Flask allows you to make it so that if you go to localhost /start game after so the first thing when you actually go to your localhost, just a second, if I actually go to my localhost over here, it will display overs.html, which is a file that I have put here. So once you are at the root slash over here, what it does is it will show this overs.html as I had shown you. It will render it, and then in overs.html it takes these overs and sends it back to the Python file under the name of /start game as a post query. So now this triggers this part of the code. That is how the app.route decorator works. So now I just have a function. This is a part of the Flask syntax. Overs is request.form overs. So what this variable does is request.form, it traces where it got the values of the number of overs from. And as you can see, it got this from the input with a name of overs. Now name is what is used to get the actual value. Now if we move to score list, we generate a new score list by taking an integer of the overs. Okay. Now what happens is we return a render template. In this case we render index.html, but along with it we pass a variable saying result is equal to score list. So now it's time to head on to the actual front end, which was the most complex part of coding this actually. So if we move to the index.html page, there is a lot to be explained here. First of all, I have used Bootstrap. Now what Bootstrap basically is, a Bootstrap is a CSS JavaScript library that you can use in HTML to make your website look better without having to write a lot of CSS code by just appending a particular class to your table elements, to your elements like that. You can see, you can just use Bootstrap by entering this line over here and one JavaScript line at the end of all the code, and that's it. You can use Bootstrap. It's very easy, which is why I have used Bootstrap. It can make the page responsive as well, so if you're using it on a phone, you'll still be able to see this website properly, which is why I've chosen Bootstrap. Now in the body, I've got a Bootstrap element called a container, which basically is what makes the which is basically what gives the margin. If I just show you, it gives this sort of margin to the left and right, so that is what the container is. And container also makes it makes it responsive. Yes. So now I've created a table with a class table. This is again a Bootstrap class that allows Bootstrap to be used. Now these are just some HTML tags. Okay, so this is just a table row which has the headings of ball number, outcome, and current score and wickets. Now comes the actual part of Jinja. So what Jinja is, as you could see in app.py, we had passed result is equal to score list through in this render template function. What Jinja does, Jinja is actually integrated with Flask. So what Jinja does is Jinja takes this function result and allows for Python-like code to be run inside HTML with these kind of formats. Now this is very ugly, but this is how the code is actually done. Okay. So treat this as normal Python code to some extent, okay? Now this for I in result. Remember, result is score list, and score list is a list of these strings that have to be passed for output. So there's a for loop for I in result. Now we use a set command, which is basically creating a variable in Jinja index, and we take result, which is the list. Dot index is a function which finds the index, and then I pass in I, which is the object. So this gives us the index starting from 0. Remember, computers count from 0. So since we do not want to have ball 0 as an actual thing, we add 1 to it, so that we don't have, if there's a 120 ball match, the ball numbers don't start from 0 and end at 119. They have to start at 1 and end at 120. That is why this index has +1. Now for remainder, this is because in cricket the first ball of an over is written as 0.1 etc etc, but there is at the the 0.5 is the last ball of the over, then it automatically goes to 1.0 in cricket. So the remainder over here is if we take the modulus and 6. So modulus is a Python function which allows it to take a remainder on a particular division. This shows us how many balls are there, or if it is just a perfect over ending. So ball str is an empty string on which we are going to be doing function. We are going to be doing calculations. Now if the remainder is 0, it means it is a perfect over like 1.0 or 2.0. In which case, this is complicated, it took me long time to figure this out. We set this ball str variable to index divided by 6, which in this case will give 2 or 3, and then we do something called casting it. Now in actual Python, what this looks like is str of outcome 0, but that str function does not exist in Jinja, and in Jinja what you have to do is you have to put this pipe and then you have to put a stringify operator like this. So this turns this brackets, the results of this brackets, into a string and stores it in ball str. So if the remainder is not 0, this is where there is still more thing to be done. Now I needed to break this up into different variable parts so that I could then eventually concatenate it all together. Here is the code for that. I'm going to try my best to explain it. So part 1 is basically the index minus the remainder, which in this case would give us a perfect over divided by 6. So suppose we've got an over 1.3, let's say. Now part 1 in this case would have the value of index minus remainder. Remainder would be 3 in this. So it would be 1.01, and over here we have to divide it by 6. Oh sorry, yeah, the index over here would be 9, and then we subtract the remainder 3. So this would give us 6. Then if we divide this by 6, we would get 1, which in fact the perfect over part is actually 1, and then we turn that into a string. So over here this code basically makes it so that you append this together like this 1.5 and send it without having any bad looking. This is what this if function over here is. Now part 2 is the remainder string, which is basically the remainder at this, which is 3 or 4 or 5. In 1.5 that would be the 3 or 4. So that is what it is. And ball str, we just append this all together and call it a string again. So now that was finding out what the ball string was, what the number of the ball is. Now comes the actual thing. So this shows ki if the outcome is a wicket, then we take a row with a class of table danger. So a table danger is again a class in Bootstrap which makes it go red, which makes the row go red in the form of a wicket. In this case, the table heading will be, the scope will be row, which makes it look like the header of a row. And over here we put the ball str. This is the syntax to actually display the string on the page. Now this is a table column or table the row values. Over here the outcome is a wicket, and the current score and current wickets is taken by this piece of code here. The same is done for if it is a wide or a no ball. We use the info color, which gives it a light cyan color, and then uses the same sort of code. Then if it is a 6, then we use the success class, which is green. If it is a 4, we use the primary, which is a darkish blue, and anything else it's just a light, not white, a lightish gray shade. So this is Jinja, and that is how all of this code works. So this took me a lot of time to make. I spent most of my Christmas time doing this. So it would I would really appreciate it if you really enjoyed the video and watched till here. Please subscribe and like. Don't forget to comment down below any suggestions, any queries that you have. Join my Discord server, the link will be in the description. And that's it for today. Bye guys.